This video is the final part in our 10-part series to find 10 puzzles under $10. You can go watch the previous parts if you haven't already, or you can just hang tight, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the finale.
Genuinely, literally living in a box.
I am on a mission. The magical mystery bucket of wonder. From this bucket, we will pull out at random the puzzle to talk about. So the Polaris cube. Somewhere in here there's this cube that's not immediately obvious. So yes, we managed to sneak in a Scube in here, even though I don't really like Scube or ever solve it. But it's a pretty good puzzle. But is it as good as our last one? Which is the Petal Pyraminx. The Petal Pyraminx is a Pyraminx that has some pretty obvious modifications made to it. So this thing looks a little crazy, which is fitting because this kind of, in a sense, is what we could refer to as a crazy cube. A crazy cube or crazy puzzle is any puzzle that has these strange circles inside of its faces. Okay, quick terminology correction, sort of, maybe. There are a couple different puzzle designs out there with these inner pieces, with these inner circles that operate in different ways. You have such things like Calvin's puzzles, lines of what they call super puzzles, not crazy puzzles, where the circular discs act identical to those on the Petal Pyraminx. We will see an example of one of these in just a sec here, but the actual term supercube can be applied not just to these puzzles, but to really any puzzle whose centerpieces need to be oriented to be solved. Now, other companies like ShengShou have similar looking puzzles with these inner discs, but these pieces do not rotate on their own like the Petal Pyraminx or these super puzzles. These pieces instead stay in place while you turn slices around them. They call these crazy puzzles. And then you have cubes with names like this. You see, now I just don't know what to call anything anymore. So throughout this video, I will be referring to the Petal Pyraminx as a crazy type puzzle. If this upsets you, you have been warned. So stop crying and grow up. So being a Pyraminx, we can do these normal, just Pyraminx type corner turning moves. We can also move these circles just like this, completely separate from these normal pieces. You can see a similar thing with something like a crazy 3x3x5. We got these crazy circles on all these long side faces, so we can move pieces like that, move them back like that, and do all sorts of things. And we can even do things like this. Ooh, but that's not for now, that's for a different video, possibly in the future. For now, we're focusing on this. So being based off of a standard Pyraminx, you might not think that this puzzle is too difficult, but its difficulty is pretty up there. At least for me it was. Your mileage may vary. Hopefully not too much, because that just shows I'm really bad at some puzzles, which is true, but I have quite a few crazy puzzles and I've gotten pretty decent at them. But this one really stumped me. Usually most crazy puzzles, you just solve the inner, circles here just like you would solve the inner pieces on like a 5x5 or something. It's just like doing center reduction. But for this thing, your center reduction for these right here on the Petal Pyraminx can't really be completed entirely just with what you know from normal crazy cube or 5x5 plus center reduction methods. Especially when you get to the last two centers, that's when it gets really tricky, and you're going to have to figure out your kind of own commutator algorithm whatnots in order to get them solved. So let's try that and see what happens here. So scrambling up, just normal Pyraminx moves, and then we get to start turning these. Let's just give them all a bit of a spin, and we will quickly find, upon doing more Pyraminx moves, we've done what is hopefully not irreparable damage to our puzzle. Let's just do a little more here, getting it nice and all mixed up here. And I think I'm gonna call that good. So I like to solve this thing just by solving the normal outer Pyraminx pieces first. So your Pyraminx pieces here aren't exactly one-to-one with a normal Pyraminx. You are, first of all, missing the kind of useless tip that you get on a normal Pyraminx. In this puzzle, they're both connected into one solid piece. Then your edge pieces are easy to identify. You have this long piece right here, this blue and yellow one, which would correspond to this blue and yellow edge right here. Okay, now you might be able to see how all of our outer Pyraminx pieces are solved. Now it's just a matter of getting all of our turntables in the middle solved. Okay, I think it's time for an interjection to what's going on right here. So I've solved this puzzle a fair few times now, but I still have yet to get a complete grasp of how these circle centerpieces orbit around the puzzle and can be connected best to each other. Basically, I can do the reduction part, I just suck. So much in fact that, here we go, there goes the puzzle, and then up come the dogs. I assume the laid-back puzzle-solving position. This is what it looks like. And nearly 7 minutes later, I just gotta get to here to there, but not mess these up. Rats. Now this is the actual hard part, the last 2 centers, which I have not found a good method to do. This could actually be easy. I'm just not good at this thing. Clearly. Never mind. Okay, this puzzle shouldn't be too hard. I think I've finally found a solid, reliable method to get it done. So there we have the Petal Pyraminx, the YJ Petal Pyraminx. For just $7.99, you can get yourself a pretty decent challenge. If you've never solved a 5x5 or any crazy cube before and you don't know how to do center reduction in the slightest, this is probably going to be extremely hard, to be honest. I mean, it's already difficult if you do know how to do that, so best of luck, depending on your skill level, if you try to tackle this thing. I would, however, say it is easier than the Master Pyraminx here, but even though it's tough, it's quite a bit of fun, and it turns really nicely. This is one of the probably higher quality cubes, I'd say, that we've looked at today. It feels solid. I haven't had any stability issues at all. No pops or lockups or anything. You just got to make sure that when you're twisting all these circles that they're lined up, because if they're not quite lined up, then your puzzle's not going to turn. What they do, just give a little lock into place when you line them up properly, so that is going to help you. Alright, now plopping the Petal Pyraminx through one last pass in our puzzle ranking machine. For value, we are going to start with a 9. This puzzle is a very fun challenge. It takes the Pyraminx, which is normally a pretty easy puzzle, and it adds a significant challenge that will really get you thinking and will keep you thinking for several solves after your first. And for quality, we are also going to go with a 9. It's a high score here so far because this puzzle is pretty dang solid. I mean, I haven't experienced any issues with stability, and I haven't done anything to it since I first unboxed it. Haven't tensioned it, haven't lubed it up. It was ready to go right away. Sometimes with these crazy type puzzles, the center circle pieces can be a bit awkward to turn since they are completely flat with nothing to really grab onto. But with this cube, I haven't had a single problem with this. And now here we go, wrapping up everything here. For difficulty, we are going to go with a 6. As you saw, this puzzle is a bit tricky, and it is a huge jump in difficulty from a normal Pyraminx, but the challenge here is very fun. If you get this puzzle, I encourage you to try to figure it out on your own without a tutorial or anything, since the best, most satisfying part comes from finding your own method of pairing up the pieces inside of those rotating turntables.